What is up, you guys? Welcome back to another video here on Footy Talks. Barcelona is officially back to playing. It has been a month or so of them being out. Barcelona did start off their preseason tour in Asia facing Vissel Kobe, with the match being 3-1 in favor of Barca. And honestly, overall, I could just say it's really good to see Barca playing again. Again, it has been about a month or so of them being out. And it's nothing like seeing your team back in action once more. I mean, it was cool seeing Madrid getting thrashed and PSG getting thrashed in the Club World Cup. But good to see Barca playing again. There is quite a few things to unpack in this preseason match for sure. We did get to see the new signings in action. Also, a few La Masia products play as well. And seeing some players that were coming back from injury or, starting to come back from injury last season play, which is good, which we're going to go ahead and get on to. Now, going into the first half for Barca did start with this lineup right here. We did have Joan Garcia make his official debut as our starting goalkeeper for this match and hopefully for many matches to come for many years. We all know the situation that's going on with Ter Stegen, so Joan Garcia is going to be our starting goalkeeper. I do think Joan Garcia didn't look out of place at all. He looked really comfortable on the ball, and also did make a few stops when he was called up to action. When it comes to the goal that he did concede, it wasn't really on him. It was a mistake from Kubarsi that did lead up to that goal, but we're going to get into that in a second. But overall, I do think Joan Garcia, he is really solid, and I think it's going to be really great to see how he does continue to integrate into this Barca team. As per that mistake that Kubarsi made leading up to the goal, I mean, when it comes to these preseason matches, it's not really too much to look into. I do think it's just about players getting their match sharpness back and getting into the rhythm of things once more. Again, it has been about a month of them being out after the end of the season, so not really too much to look into that mistake. But other than that, Kubarsi, along with the rest of the backline in the first half, did look pretty solid. We did have Balde, Inigo, Kubarsi, and Eric Garcia. Eric Garcia was the main standout when it came to that back line, and during that first half as well. Of course, he did score that goal for Barca in the first half, which was a pretty scrappy goal overall, but you can't complain when a goal's a goal. I do think that goals are becoming an important part of Eric Garcia's game, as we did see towards the end of last season. He was playing in the right back position. He did chip in with a few goals, important matches, with him playing against Inter in the second leg and against Madrid in the Clásico. He did chip in with a few goals and also was really solid as well defensively. I do think that Eric Garcia, he's going to be a really important figure when it comes to covering in the back line, whether it's in the center back position for Jules Koundé or even in the central defensive position if need be. Hopefully not, but we'll go ahead and see. And moving on to the midfield, in the first half, we had Pedri and Gavi as the midfield duo. I mean, for Pedri, what can we say? Pedri, he's just a magician on the ball. He always making the right decisions, getting himself out of tight situations with that really close control and dribbles. He's just a quality player overall, and hopefully we could continue to see Pedri do well going into this season and stay healthy. As for Gavi, I think he looked really solid today alongside Pedri. Gavi, he did come back from that ACL injury last season. It was never going to be easy for him. Sorry, I had a burp. But it was never going to be easy for him getting it back into it. Since he did come back from the ACL injury, it was always going to take time. But I think today he did look pretty solid. And hopefully, for these matches to come and going into this season, he does continue to get better and better and becomes an important figure for us in the midfield, whether that's in the starting position or as a rotational player. We'll have to go ahead and see. But Moving on to the front four for the first half, we did have Rafinha. I think Rafinha in the first half, he was one of our better attackers, making those runs in behind that we know him for, also taking shots on goal. I think he was one of our better attackers. Ferran and Fermin, they did stay a little bit more quiet, but again, it's not really too much to look into. It's just about getting match sharpness back, and hopefully they could gain that form that we saw from them last season and continue to improve on that. Now, Lamine Yamal, we did officially see him with the number 10. It is good to see. It is going to take a little bit of time to get used to, but just hopefully that number doesn't weigh too much on him. As for the match that he had today, I honestly think that it's just a case of Ferran, Fermin, and Kubarsi as well. I think it's just a matter of him getting match sharpness back and getting back into the groove of things. He did have a few dribbles where he did lose the ball and a few misplaced passes and a few loose touches. But again, it's not too much to look into. Just hopefully that Lamine could gain that form back that we saw from him last season and just continue to improve upon that. I mean, we do have to give him a break. He's barely 18 years old, so that was the first half right there. There's not really a lot that happened in the first half aside from the goals and just seeing how the players were. It was mainly in the second half where we did see quite a few different faces and a few things happen as well, so we're gonna get on to that right now. Now, going into the second half, as we do see in this preseason matches, we did see the whole squad changed out. So in place of John Garcia, we saw Szczesny, which Szczesny in the second half, he didn't really get called up too much to do a lot. And then we had the whole back line change. We had a Jofre Torrens, which we'll get onto in a second. Come in place for Balde. We had Christensen, be there, Araujo, and Jules Koundé. And then in the midfield, we had Frankie de Jong, Casado, Marcus Rashford make his debut, Dani Olmo, Rooney also make his debut, and Lewandowski. Now, as for Jofre Torrens, I didn't really have to see too much of him to say that I think he is a better backup for Balde than Gerard Martin. I could tell by his physical stature of how tall he is, how fast, how agile he is, that he is a better backup for Balde. But not only in the physical sense, but also him on the ball too. I do think that he is really intelligent along with his movements. I think he does offer a lot more than Gerard Martin does. Gerard Martin, I do think that he is slower and tends to be more conservative. So I would like to see more of Jofre Torrens, throughout these preseason matches. And hopefully even throughout the season, like I said, it doesn't take too much to see that Jofre Torrens is a better option overall in terms of what he can offer you for that backup position. Hopefully Hansi Flick finds a way to develop him into being a good backup option or, even a good starting left back option when need be. But only time will tell from that. We'll have to see. But moving on to the rest of the back line, I do think Jules Koundé, he was pretty solid, as well as Araujo. Despite all the criticism he has been getting, I think he did put in a solid performance today. Christensen, it's really good to see him healthy and playing again. Hopefully it could stay like that for us for the rest of the season. I know that there were rumors of him trying to be sold during the summer transfer window, which I think is pretty dumb if you ask me, because he is a world-class defender that does know how to distribute the ball really well. Also, he does know how to read the game really well. So I'm looking forward to seeing Christensen throughout the season, and hopefully, he can stay healthy for us. Now, moving on to the midfield duo of Frankie de Jong and Marc Asado. Frankie de Jong, as we saw in the second half of the season, he is pretty solid. He didn't put a foot wrong throughout the second half when he did get a chance. And Marc Asado, it was really good to see Marc Asado playing again. I mean, we know he did get a injury towards the second half of the season, which did leave him out for quite a bit. So it was good to see him playing again. We all know that he was an important figure for us throughout last season. So hopefully he could continue to be that and fight his way for that midfield spot. The only one that I'm bummed out to not have seen play at all today, or I think not even on the bench, it was Marc Bernal. I do know it's kind of the same case of Gavi with Bernal. Him coming back from an ACL injury, it's never going to be easy for him to be the same player he was right away. So I do appreciate, the club for taking precaution on taking care of him. But I do eventually want to see him because if you guys know, looking back at last season's preseason and the beginning of last season, Marc Bernal was pretty solid. He's a different profile from, what Marc Asado and Frankie de Jong are. And hopefully we do get to see him in the next preseason match to come. And, throughout the season, hopefully we do get to see him as well. Moving on to the front four, to Rashford. We did have Rashford make his official debut as a Barcelona player coming from Manchester United. And I'm really looking forward to what Rashford could do as a Barcelona player. I do think that he is a different profile on the left wing that we haven't had in quite some time, in all honesty. I mean, we know Rafinha, he did do really good on that left wing position last season, but him and Rashford, they are completely different players in terms of the profiles and the way they play. Rashford does tend to be a player that could hold the width on the left-hand side by himself. He knows how to dribble. He could even, play as an inside forward as well. In that second half, when Rashford was playing, he was making things happen. He was, taking shots on goal, trying to send passes, set players up, dribble players. He was making things happen. Now, he did get taken off, towards the second half, the end of second half, just because, Barca did want to take precaution with him, especially with him still trying to get up to speed with how Barca plays. So it's understandable of why they took him off. And if I'm not mistaken, I know he also did have an injury towards the end of last season. So it's understandable why. Dani Olmo, he did have a quiet game as well. He did have a shot on goal, which he did pull wide. But I think Dani Olmo, he did have a quiet game. Again, it's just a matter of him getting match sharpness back and getting back into the fix of things. It's going to be really interesting to see how him and Fermin do for that number 10 position. So that's going to be something to look forward to, coming into the new season. And moving on to another one of our new signings and also them making their debut, it is Rooney. I don't want to pronounce his last name because I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Rooney Bargi. Anyways, Rooney. I think he looked really solid as well today. Again, like Rashford, I am looking forward to see how he does integrate into this Barca team. Now, in the case of Rooney, he does have Lamine Yamal in front of him, which, it is going to be hard to compete for a starting spot, but hopefully Hansi Flick does find a way to give him playing time, and hopefully Rooney does prove himself with that playing time as well. I mean, today he did get a, goal, which is really good to see, and also him taking on his man, one-on-one too. That was good to see as well. There's a lot of talent there for sure with Rooney, so he's gonna be another player to look out for, going into this new season. And then we have Lewandowski, with his new blonde hair. It is gonna take a little bit to get used to, but I think Lewandowski too, he did have a little bit of a quiet game, but overall I think he was solid too. Again, it's just a matter of getting match sharpness back. I do think he did make a few good passes. He actually did set up Rooney for his goal, which was good to see. But we're going to see how Lewa does, especially with the arrival of Rashford and, you know, rumors of him being phased out little by little by Flick. So we're going to see how Lewa does. Now, we do have to get on to Pedro Fernandez. Dro is what they call him, if I'm not mistaken. He did score the third goal when it came to this match here. He is another La Masia product, which is always good to see. He is an attacking midfielder, so we did see him drop deep for the ball and, you know, be in that position where we needed him. So it's always good to see that. Who knows if we'll see him get more chances as the season starts and so forth. We'll probably see him more during the preseason, but who knows during the season, because honestly with this Barca team, they do have a little bit more depth now with the signings that they have made and players now coming back from injury, so it is going to be pretty competitive. But like I said, it is always good to see these La Masia talents, you know, get their chance and prove what they are. But yeah, that was Barca's first preseason match. They do have their next match coming up in a few days, so I'll go ahead and try to make a match review of that. You know, like I said, when it comes to these preseason matches, it's not really a lot to look into. It's just a matter of, you know, seeing how the players are getting their match sharpness back, seeing the new signings, seeing any new and up and coming talents. It's just, those are the main things to look at. Honestly, I'm really looking forward to seeing how everything does pan out during this preseason and as the season does come closer. You guys let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. How do you guys feel about the signings that Barca has made? How do you guys feel about the new talents that are coming up? Do you guys feel confident in the squad, especially with reports saying that the club isn't going to make any more signings for this transfer window? You guys let me know down in the comments below what you guys think. For those of you guys that did tune in, I really do appreciate you guys for watching. Your support really does mean a lot to me and this channel always. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. This was Footy Talks here, and until next time, peace out.